how do you look ahead to this Saturday's game against Po, just in the sense that, it's a chance for you to secure a home leg in the knockout stages, given the fact that you've already secured your place in the sort of last 16 of the Challenge Cup?
Yeah, we obviously were very aware of, if you look at history in the European Cup, any European competition, home advantage is huge. So it's something we've obviously talked about this week, and it's all about opportunity. So said we've already qualified, so that one's in the bag, and now we're going out there to make sure we can maximise it and create the best opportunities we can over the next block in the knockout stages.
Obviously last year was a very successful one for you in Europe. You won a knockout tie for the first time ever in European history. So where do you view the Challenge Cup in terms of your priorities this season? Obviously, I know you've had a change of coaching staff recently. How are you looking at this in terms of prioritising, in terms of having a good run in this competition and going as far as you can?
Yeah, obviously we want to be best Welsh region, and we want to be, as a club, we obviously want to be challenging for playoffs, knockout rounds, and ultimately it's 4 games. Once you get into the knockout stages and you're there, so it's a huge opportunity that we definitely talk about being really important for us and for our season, and it's something we're really excited about.
And what kind of challenge are you expecting on Saturday? Because going to France is never an easy task, is it?
No, it's never easy going to France. Especially the French teams at home. If you look at Pau's results when they've played at home, they've had some really good results out of it. So we know it's going to be a tough test, but it's what everyone does it for. It's for those opportunities to play in those games, and it's exciting, and the group are excited about the challenge that's ahead of them.
And obviously this week, in terms of Ospreys, including the Six Nations squad, Jack Morgan was confirmed as captain for the tournament. Just obviously as forwards coach and someone who works with Jack very closely, just how proud are you of this? I know he's been named, co-captain before for the World Cup, but it's, I suppose you would say it's very well deserved, wouldn't you? Yeah,
I think for the last few years, Jack's performances on field have always delivered the level of performance that you'd say he deserves to be there as a player and outright. But despite how young he is, there's still the leadership that he's showing and he's developing. How he's taken to that role for us as captain as well has been amazing. You probably you wouldn't find a more respected person within the group, from staff, coaches, players. Just his work ethic, his attention to detail, how humble he is, how he helps other people, how he puts the team first. We're very lucky to have him with us, and I'm sure he's going to do an amazing job for Wales when he steps into that role.
Yeah, because obviously this is the first time we've spoken to you since he signed his new contract. So I suppose that's vital, isn't it? If you are going to build on that hope to become the best Welsh region, keeping local players like Jack, who are performing at very high standards for club and country, I suppose that's going to be vital to any success, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I think club, obviously a statement from the club around the people we want to keep in the building, and I'm sure there'll be many people out there who would like to attract Jack's signature, and it's a massive thing for us as a club that Jack wanted to stay and be part of this and part of the journey of what we're trying to build here going forward, because he is the type of person that, like I said, any team would be excited about having.
And obviously staying with the forwards theme here, I know a lot had been said over the summer about Sam Parry's decision to leave the Wales squad. He's been recalled now for the Six Nations, and just again, as someone who works with him very closely, could you just explain why you think he's so deserving of that recall, given that it raised quite a few eyebrows in Wales and beyond last year that he was going to be a fringe player in that summer squad?
I think if you look at the level of set piece that he's delivered, obviously something that we value here at the Ospreys as well. His consistency of throw-in, his scrummaging, his leadership has always been, since I've been here, has been outstanding. And I know how much it's meant to him to play for Wales. And it's great to see, and I know it's part of his ambition every year about what he wants to achieve, and he's really worked hard to put himself in the frame to get that reward, and we're all just so happy for him that he's managed to get it.
Just the last question from me. Obviously, I appreciate this is out of your remits as a forwards coach, but you still obviously work very closely with him as well. The Dan Edwards call-up, he's obviously only one of 2 uncapped players that's been called up for the Six Nations, which is huge in itself, given that it's not the kind of experience where you sort of blood new caps usually. So obviously it shows that he's very well deserving of that call-up, isn't he? Because there's quite a bit of competition there at fly half.
Yeah, there is, and if you look at how Dan's grown, stepping into the senior environment last year, getting performances, his threat with ball in hand and his speed, kicking game, his composure under pressure. I think back to Ulster last year when he got match-winning drop goal last play of the game. He's for me, he's shown time and time again that he's capable of delivering on the big occasion, and I think we're just really excited for him that he's going to get the opportunity to show that, but being in the Wales squad, and with fingers crossed for him that he's going to get selection in the matchday squads and be able to show what he can do on the international stage.
Thanks, Richard. All the best this weekend, mate. Cheers.
Top man, thank you.
Hi Richard, how are you?
Hi Steph, how are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, good, thanks. But one player who didn't quite make the squad was James Fender. I mean, obviously he's very young, so I'm sure that will come. Just how excited are you by his potential and how impressive you've been with him since he's come back from injury?
Yeah, you look at his form before he got his injury last season, and he was one of the form players in Wales within second row pool, I think, and probably that injury came at the wrong time for him at the end of last year around selection, and I'd hoped he would probably been pushing there despite his age, based on his performances. But I know how hard he's worked off the field to put himself in a position where he's getting himself back to that sort of form. And he is young, and if it doesn't happen now, I'm sure, knowing James, he's going to keep working as hard as he is, and fingers crossed he's going to get them opportunities in the future. He's a real talent. I think his line-out speed, alongside some of the physicality stuff he's shown around the field, he's got a lot to offer going forward. And Wales are going to pick the squad based on what they want for that game plan in those games, and every coach will want different things, whoever you see. But I think he's definitely put himself, for me, into that conversation around whether he should be included in those international squads.
Is Rhys Davies fit for this weekend?
No, he's not fit. We're still waiting to hear a little bit from the physios exactly, like how long he'll be out for. The detail of it really, but he won't be available for this weekend.
I'm not sure if this is in your remit, but in terms of Dan Edwards, to me, looking in from the outside, he looks like a player who enjoys the pressure, playing outside half, and we've seen, in the past with some really good players who have struggled with that when they've stepped up. Do you think he's the type of guy that will take the sort of pressure in his stride, and it doesn't look like anything phases him from the outside? No,
he's quite relaxed guy. He's good fun. He looks at everything quite positively, and I think much as any words I can say, the actions he showed on field is when those pressure moments have come, he's dealt with them. I mentioned Ulster away. There's been many more, and Ulster home when he kicks the drop goal. There's been many more. And as a young man, it probably does strike you working with him how well he does deal with those situations and deal with pressure. Like I said, it's probably the next stage in his development is being pushed into that international stage now. So we're all just really excited to see him go, and I can't wait to support him and get behind him.
Is the club a bit disappointed that Ruben hasn't had the nod as well? He's been playing very well all season and last season.
Yeah, and again, I think all Rubes can do is keep working as hard as he is, keep delivering the level of performances he is doing at the moment, and hopefully he'll get his recognition as time comes. I think even this year, I think he's taken a step up again from his performances from last year. So he's just got to keep tracking in that direction, and fingers crossed he'll get the rewards for it in the end.
In terms of the Challenge Cup, is this a competition that you're really targeting as a club? Obviously, you try to win every game you play, but you've fallen on the wrong side of a few results in the URC, so you've got some work to do there. But if you can get a home draw, the finals in Cardiff as well. So is that something that you've spoken about as a club, really trying hard to get to that final?
I think the biggest thing, we obviously go one game at a time in terms of what we look forward to, is we know the European Cup. Any European Cup is always a special thing, and it's always something that we want to be successful in, and we know that ultimately we've qualified for the last 4 games, and having home advantage for that doesn't mean if you don't have it you can't be successful and get through, but you'd be naive to think that having home draws all the way through because of seeding doesn't make a huge advantage, because it will, and that is something we have addressed, and that is something that we're obviously aware of going into this game around the opportunity that's there for us for that.